Hello, creatives, and welcome back to the Empowered Creatives podcast, finding confidence between hustle and burnout. I'm your host, Victoria Hines, creative career coach, helping creatives just like you navigate those twists and turns in your creative career. My guest this week is Dr. Rebekah Louisa Smith, who is the Film Festival Doctor. She was born in Worcestershire, United Kingdom, which I think I pronounced correctly, but I'll double check when I...
Worcestershire, yeah.
Worcestershire, there we go. From humble beginnings, working as a personal assistant at lots of corporate companies, she worked her way up to become an award-winning consultant and media personality who now has more than 10 years of film festival strategy consulting experience. Rebekah and the hardworking team behind her company, the Film Festival Doctor, are creators of success and are committed to nurturing filmmakers in order to help them secure film festival screenings, win awards, and a positive recognition within the film industry. Currently, her company has won more than 1,500 awards for their clients, including one Oscar nomination, and they have supported over 850 creatives across the world. So welcome, Rebekah. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you. Yes, thank you for that lovely introduction. Pro.
You're so welcome. All right, so I kick it off every single episode with my guests with the same question, but it's a doozy. What do artists and creatives need to know is possible today?
What they need to know is, first of all, is to never give up. And if they have this, if they plant the creative seed and be like, well, what will people think of it? And will it work? Can I make money out of it? Well, focus on the creative aspect and then find the business side. So creativity is really important, that you don't lose sight of your creativity and start trying to put anything else on it that is, the commercial stuff and money. Work on that after and then find the way to monetize it, because there's always a way to monetize it. Just get the creative juices flowing, get them out there, and don't let anything hold you back.
Is that something you've seen your clients have to learn the hard way?
Yes. Oh my God, yes. So as I'm in the film industry, that is obviously a really creative industry for obvious reasons. There's highbrow art films, there's commercial films, short films, documentary, they're all different methods. And a lot of the time, people will make a film, but then they change it and they change their vision so they can make it in a way that it'll get sold more easily. So, for example, we had a film that was a good script and could potentially, do well at festivals. That's what my area is. And then we got on board, a person came on board to sell the film. And he then wanted it changed in certain ways because he wanted a new star to come on board who was more marketable than the other star. But this guy was not the right fit for this character. And it went from being this substantial kind of a good character study to being very flimsy, and it didn't work. And then during the shoot, it got more and more stressful for the director and the producers because it wasn't the film they wanted. It turned out okay, a commercial piece, but it also meant they couldn't do any film festivals because it wasn't a festival viable kind of piece. This guy was known, but he wasn't known on the festival circuit. So they kind of were talked into it because obviously they got the money, they got money, but they didn't want that. And they lost kind of faith in the film because their creative vision was, well, I suppose the word is the creative vision was sabotaged. And they wanted to keep that, but obviously they've got people above them that have controlling money and finances and distribution companies. They own the film when they sign up and sign on. So you do lose that power. So I would say to be totally independent, whatever industry you're in, be totally independent. And I have clients that have had that experience before, and then they go, right, we're doing it all by ourselves now. I'm not going to get an agent selling until later on down the process and make the movie we want to make. And then they do that, and it's a film that they're really proud of, and it does really well. So it's a case of actually being stubborn. I think it's stubbornness is one thing. I'm like that because sometimes I just doing my kind of way of doing a personal strategy, and it might mean a bit maybe crazy here and there, but you get the result. And it's trust me, I'm a doctor, but trust me, it's going to work because this is a method that I know can get success. So it's having to just believe in that and don't let people kind of give the layman's terms or the logical way, because sometimes it's not always logical when you're really creative.
Absolutely. I think it's so hard as a creative to oftentimes, especially if it's your own project, if it's the thing you created yourself, or even with a collaboration team, it's hard to remember you're the CEO of
Yeah,
that project.
exactly.
And yep. And even though you're wanting investors, even though maybe the money's coming from elsewhere, even though you need to bring in all these other people who have skill sets that are different than yours, who can help you and bring your project to life, you're still the CEO, and it's still your decisions to make at the end of the road.
Yes.
Um, yeah.
Yes, exactly. No, exactly. So I like it. I like being a CEO because, like you say, it's not to say the word power and control. It's more a case of the freedom. I need to have
Hmm.
everyday creative freedom. And then the fact that, if I need some like second opinion or something, any kind of extra help, I have people I can turn to that can help with that. But in terms of the vision, that's where it comes down to when you're a CEO, because you have that vision. And then, you can get input from people. But I always find that my research is good input as well as other people's opinions sometimes. But I think when I do my research and I know the field and see what the patterns are, what the trends are, that's where creativity can really flow.
I love that. Hey there, creative. I have a delightful invitation just for you. Imagine diving even deeper into the incredible world of living your life as an empowered creative, including more tips, tricks, and advice arriving straight into your inbox. Sounds pretty cool, right? Well, guess what? I've got something special brewing, and I don't want you to miss out. Introducing my oh so awesome bi weekly email newsletter. It's a vibrant community bursting with passion, curiosity, and the love of building a creative life. By joining my newsletter, you'll get first access to new promotions and launches, as well as my welcoming voice in your ear every other week. Also, I'll share with you my creative career audit worksheet, a secret tool myself and clients have used during our own career transitions and pivots. So don't miss this opportunity to be my pen pal, as well as deepen your connection with fellow empowered creatives by heading to www.victoriahines.com or following the link in the show notes below. Thank you for being such an incredible listener, and I really look forward to sharing this exciting journey with you through both the podcast and my newsletter. Now, let's dive back into the show. So, how did you find your path into becoming the film festival doctor that you are today, founding the company?
Yeah, it was kind of by accident, a
Okay.
happy accident, I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
So I moved from England to Wales to do my PhD. And I enjoyed the area of research that I was doing. That was audience research in film. And I loved my topic, which was Tarantino. But I didn't think it was my passion. I thought maybe there's something else. I don't know what it is, but I do love film and I do love research and writing. So maybe it's something down that path. But right now this is the path I got to go on, so I'm going to just follow it and see what happens. So the PhD was quite stressful. I didn't quite get on with my supervisor, but it was stressful. It felt like work a bit, but I did enjoy the result that we got in the end with the project. And what I had to do was like analyze patterns of emotional response. And that was so much fun because that actually helps me now create very good strategies for clients. But then I got asked to co-produce a film festival that was happening on the university grounds. And I didn't know much about festivals at all. I don't think I had actually been to a film festival before I started working with Abattoir. That was the name of the festival, Abattoir Festival. And I thought, okay, this will be a nice, happy distraction because writing a PhD is very solitary and it's also very. I mean, now friends I had, but it is very much like one to one with the supervisor. It's not, very like a group thing.
It's not
So you do it,
collaborative.
yeah, it is very much.
Yeah.
So it is a very different kind of thing. It's very academic. So I thought, why not? So it'd be fun, see some people. And then that like hobby was a wake up call. And it was my true calling. And as soon as I started working there, and I was like, oh my God, I really love doing this. I love programming the films for the festival long, producing the festival. I love, looking after the guests and then seeing the celebration and the energy. Like, this is really amazing. This is something special here. But I think I prefer this to academia. And it clicked when I was at a conference, academic conference. I realized I was out of my depth and it wasn't for me. But I finished the PhD. I'm very proud of the PhD. The minute I handed it in, I then moved to London to start my business. It was during the time I was producing the festival, and there was a gap in the market. Nobody offered this kind of service at that time. There was one guy, but he kind of developed a very good business model to build upon, but it needed development, put it that way. And I was like, oh, this will be fun to develop. But he doesn't run the company anymore, that gentleman. He set up a really good, seed to grow.
Mm-hmm.
I love what he's done. And I then wanted to develop it more. And I couldn't develop it in Wales because there was not enough film industry connections. I had to go to London. And I liked being there for the time being I was there. But I wanted then to leave the UK and move to Dallas. But it was interesting during that time because I learned how to create a business. And then I went on business courses, and I did it in different order to what I should have probably done it in. But that's how you learn the job. But I wanted to make this business work because people needed it. I asked the filmmakers what they liked and disliked about film festivals. And they all said the same thing. We love festivals. We love coming to festivals, getting drunk, seeing our film on a big screen, winning awards, having fun. But we actually don't know what we're doing. We don't know who to turn to help get our films into festivals. There's nobody really doing it or helping us. So we're just hoping for the best and see what happens. So, well, it needs a strategy. This is quite a complex thing. Obviously, now there are loads more festivals and a lot more issues that go on. I'm glad that I created that when I did, so that I can now help filmmakers get their films in the circuit.
That's incredible. And I love how your story is such a great example of a motto and something I've talked about on the show a lot that's so frustrating, but it's that hold the vision, trust the process.
Yes.
It sounds like that vision, the vision of where you are today has been sitting with you for so long, but it wasn't just to snap your fingers.
Yes.
Magically it appeared. It's been a lot of small calculated moves along the way.
Exactly. No, yeah. And also no one kind of told me you must follow your vision in your heart, because I think they were kind of maybe saying bits and bobs here and there, but it was there was nobody really saying follow your gut and do all that. But that was me saying that. And I didn't have a lot of people tell me it would work, because they're like, you're doing something here that's quite interesting, very different, but no one else does this. And you've got to prove a lot in London. So they were like, maybe you should have a backup plan. I was like, okay, well, I have academic qualification. I am a qualified personal assistant. If I want to go down that route, there is a backup. But I know it's going to work. But I no one really was that supportive in the beginning. They were just a bit like, well, it's quite a lot to prove. I was like, I know, but I'm going to work part-time and I'll make it a full-time company. And now it's 24/7 business. It's 60 hours a week kind of thing. But I was determined to make it happen because there was just something inside my gut instinct was like, you've got to do this. I think it's also because I was born to do this kind of job. It is my true calling. So that's why I just love every day doing what I do, because I'm supposed to be doing it. But it took a long time to convince myself, with nobody really saying that I am. You say it's that little kind of journey. There was, stops and starts. It wasn't that smooth, but there were stops and starts. And at the end of the day, it did work in the end.
Are there any tactics that you used in the past to really convince yourself that you were on the right, so you knew you were on the right path, but were there tactics you used to remind yourself to keep going, even when nobody else believed in you or maybe didn't understand where you were going?
Yes. And I think what I did is I kind of just stopped and I thought, you know what? I'm doing this for a reason. I'm here for a reason. I'm manifesting really clearly what I want, and it's happening, but not in the most linear way. It's not the most straightforward way. It's a little bit turbulent, but it is coming together. I need to work on me to really just stay grounded during the chaos and to grow tree roots in my feet. But also what I did to help with that was I put together my first vision board. So I was like, I know what I want in my head and I'm saying it quite clearly, but I think I need to actually now do a proper vision board that has exactly what I want in pictures, and to look at it every day, maybe even twice a day, morning and night, before I go to bed, first thing in the morning, so I can just keep in alignment with my goals and to stay strong and to remember what I'm here for and what I'm supposed to be doing.
That's really great advice. And all the good things, good things. It's so hard to keep going when it is. When you don't have a ton of people cheering for you.
Yeah, I mean, vision boards do actually, bizarrely, it's not. They were at the time they were kind of seen as fun, They can be, they're fun to make, but they actually do have a lot of kind of therapeutic mental health kind of benefits. And also what they do is, they can actually be quite powerful if you use them the right way and commit to looking at them every day. I was just creating the board and all these images stood out. And I was like, now I'm feeling really inspired. Now I know I can keep on doing it, even if people might think I don't or shouldn't or whatever reason. It's like, no, this is telling me, the universe is telling me quite clearly I can carry on with this.
Absolutely. I'm a huge fan of vision boards and keep them on
Yes.
my computer, around my
Oh, yes.
workspace. And it's
Brilliant.
just those everyday reminders of why you're here, why you're showing up, why you're doing the work.
Exactly. It's
So,
kind of like is it like a I think the word to describe it is it's nice to also have one on your phone to look at too when you're like on the
ooh, I
move.
haven't done that yet.
Oh yeah. So there's two
I
things
like that idea.
you can do it in an app. There's an app called Vision Board, or you can do it just take a screenshot of your vision board and have it as your wallpaper, or just even have it on your favorites in your phone, and that can certainly help.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to take that tactic. I like that
Oh
one.
yeah, that's a good one.
So I know you talked about that. I think this is a beautiful, fun segue. So you talked about vision boarding really being a great tactic for mental health. And I know you recently wrote a book called Film Festivals and Looking After Your Mental Health.
Yeah.
So why don't you, first things first, what is the book about and why were you inspired to write it?
So the book is for filmmakers, and it explains how to cope with the rejection letter. And although the book is obviously aimed at filmmakers and it's about film festivals and coping with film festival rejection letters, you can actually apply the tips and techniques that I suggest to any industry, because everyone's going to get rejection at some point in their careers, whether it's not that the right promotion or a pay raise or another role or whatever it might be. And in this case, not into a film festival. I designed it because I noticed a pattern that was occurring with clients of mine who just could not detach emotionally from their films, and also not being able to cope with rejection in a way that was, on the business side. So one of the things I noticed is that, as we all know, the creative process is very emotional and you can get quite involved in it and put your heart and soul in, which is true. It's going to happen. But when you finish the film, it becomes a product, and it's important to detach emotionally from the product. And the same thing with any other things that creative, an art gallery or an artist piece or whatever it might be. That creative process is finished and now becomes a fully fledged product. And that's the same with a short film, a feature film, a documentary, or whatever it might be. And sometimes what can be the hard part for filmmakers is detaching emotionally from that product, because they don't see it as a product. They still see it as maybe their baby and their attachment to it. And when you have that much emotion, it can be hard to not take rejection personally. And I saw patterns where there were filmmakers of mine who I said to them, let's not aim for this level interior festival. Let's aim for the one below, which is still going to be good, that'll be better suited for. And they were like, okay, but let's do the top tier too, just for fun, or, submit and see. I went, well, we can if you want to and spend the money, but, just as an FYI, there's going to be rejection and no's. They were like, it's fine, we can take it. But when those no's came in, they had imposter syndrome come in, that many breakdowns, and they said they failed. And all these stuff came out. There were maybe issues they hadn't approached, but a lot of anxiety came out. And they just thought they, weren't going to get anywhere in their career. It was such a tough one to go up the ladder, level up. And it was quite scary for some of them. And I thought, right, this is not the way to handle rejection, because with film festivals, it's not always a case that they didn't like the movie. There's many different reasons why. And it's important that you then draw on a toolbox that I suggest to remember to not take rejection personally. Some of the things I recommend is using EFT, emotional freedom technique, to then just regulate the emotions and just see it as the business thing, like, okay, not this festival, there'll be something else coming in, just like that mindset. I also suggest a book called The Four Agreements, which tells you to never assume and not to take things personally. Because people do, when they get a no, oh, they didn't like it. That's assuming, and you can't assume that. Because you're not told what the reason is most of the time, then it is difficult to, not assume. But it's important to do that because you don't know the reason. And also I suggest as well, obviously, vision boards and meditation. So this is a little toolbox in the book to help people cope with rejection letters and to look at rejection differently and see it as a positive thing, that it can actually help you pivot in terms of your strategy, change a few things up here and there, but also on personal development too, and how to learn, with certain aspects you might not be fully, trained in or fully know much about, and how to like take a plan B.
Absolutely. What do you feel like have you seen as the difference with the clients you work with who have really adopted a lot of these techniques that you mentioned and are in your book?
Yeah, there's been a few, because one of them was finding it hard with having some no's come in the beginning. We got a few yeses come in after that, but then it was in the beginning was the no's was the wobbly part. Actually, when you get like 2 no's in one day, then a yes might come in the week. And also because it was hard for her, because she said to me she wouldn't take it personally because she's an actress and gets loads of rejections, and a couple of roles. But this obviously was a personal story, so it was just too much.
Right.
So then I taught her just how to process the emotion and to how to process grief. Because in a way it's grief. Like it's a loss. Like this festival was on my top 10 list or on my a wish list. It was my world premiere platform potentially. Now that's gone. It's gone for that film. Something else will come in that'll be a better platform for that particular movie that you've made right now. But it's not game over or the dream isn't over. It just means it's not going to be with this film. And to remember that no means not yet. So not yet for that festival. With a different film, more than likely or hopefully so. With this film, it's not going to be just yet. It's a different route. And to train the brain to think that way. And that helped them a lot with meditation to like calm the brain and the nerves. And also the vision board helped, because I said, look, your vision board isn't really in alignment. Because, they showed me a vision board. And she said, I've made a vision board. And I said, okay, we need to tweak it a bit. And it was all these amazing pictures, but they weren't that realistic for the film that she'd made. So I thought, well, let's get more in alignment and let's create a different vision board. And she did a vision board that was, some of the same images, like the red carpet and looking glamorous, but the other images on there that were not quite right, with the wrong kind of festivals on there. So, well, let's put these festivals on and these kind of awards. And then it worked, because she started to look at it every day and she's like, I can see the opportunities these festivals can offer me in my film. I'm seeing the vision now clearly with the images that you said to put on and how to look into different images. And there's a lot more for me than just that narrow vision I had before. She's like, I'm actually now being more open to things. I'm like, that's perfect. The more open you are, the more successful you'll be.
I love that. I've never heard that tactic of changing up your vision board when it's not working.
Yes.
But I feel like it's such a thing of, it almost is opening up new doors to knock on, is what it
exactly. That's exactly what it is. And new doors that were always open for her, but she just couldn't see them. And when you process emotions, you can see things way more clearly. I mean, it's hard for us all to do, but when you do process it and you feel the grief, you feel the pain, you go through it, which EFT can help with, or just generally feeling it and letting it pass, then you can actually see things differently and things become more clear. And there's also more stuff occurs. Because her vision board in the beginning was like a couple of images that were all like big top tier festivals and a red carpet. It's quite a small thing and some images there with some words beside it. But I was like, we're quite limited here. There's a lot more this film can do, and a lot more that festivals can do for the film, a different level and tiers, and offer you more things. So how about we just take some time and not rush it? And she took her a good week or so. I said, look, each day, go to the newsagents, get some magazines, and then look at those that are going to inspire you. Film magazines is one thing, but also other types of magazines too. Will be the best thing to really help you in terms of getting more ideas, a bit more varied. Think outside the box. So don't just stick to the film magazines. Let's look into like Harper's Bazaar, all these kind of ones, which has celebrities and success. But also festivals are in there too, but other different types of perceptions. So let's go further afield. And then she did like loads of research every day. She was like, oh, there's a lot more stuff in other areas to get inspired about and to like, be in alignment with. I was like, yeah, it's a lot more than just a film magazine. They're helpful, but we need to look just a bit more, tunnel vision won't work sometimes. It's always important to have that wide 360 degree. There are a lot more things hiding when you look bigger and open your eyes.
And stay open to what's going to come your way.
and stay open. And the vision board,
Yeah.
I think, was helping us stay open because she looked at it twice a day. Maybe once a day at the very least, but it was always twice. She was being very strong about it with me. And other clients were the same. They were doing theirs too. Actually, a little vision board WhatsApp group that was quite fun. And we saw the changes in the patterns, and it really helped. I mean, I have mine in the right hand corner. There's always some images you're just drawn to more than others, which is fine. But that means it's where you got to focus on right now, that certain topic. So I have a couple of images there. There's one which is like a group of people on their laptops and, victory, success, which is great. The one in the corner is a woman carrying a gold bag and just like saying it more confidence for certain things. I'm like, okay, it's one I want to look at. Also, one of a dog. I want a dog. The dog is like the second thing on the list. So the first thing is get the confidence and get the dog.
The dog's on my list, my vision board for this year too. So, yep.
Good.
Very high on the list. Keep looking at I keep navigating to the websites and I'm like, I know it's not yet. I know it's not yet.
Yeah.
But we're going to open up the space.
Exactly.
I love that. Just to clarify, you also find that you navigate towards different images at different times of year. Is that what you were saying too?
Yes, there is that aspect. Yes. I mean, I always do a vision board each year. So in December, obviously you get the double issues of magazines. But then sometimes I always find stuff on the internet can inspire me, which is good because you can print out the images from CVS and all that kind of stuff. So I don't limit myself to magazines, but then sometimes when I'm like feeling inspired, sometimes I get inspiration in a magazine or a source I would not think I would get it from. So for example, I was in Alex Airport one day and I was like, well, I've got time to get a magazine. So I was like, what else have they got in here? Because a lot of magazines are quite expensive, but I was like, well,
it's very pricey.
like crazy. I was just like, whoa. I was walking around and I was like, this is interesting. This has got Condé Nast Traveler. And I was like, oh, and there were these images of other parts of the US I've not been to. And I was thinking, I would love to go there to that retreat and for the wisdom and the healing. And I was like, I'm drawn to this area and these images and this place. I need to research it more. So I brought that. I don't normally buy that magazine. Normally I'll buy something like, Cosmo and all that kind of stuff that I love. But this was just standing out because there was an area to travel to that I hadn't been to before that was calling me to look at it further. So I have put the trip in a few months' time and we'll see what it's like when I get there. But it was like, I'm called here to this type of retreat, which was in Arizona, which I love. So I was like, some more stuff too there. Maybe there's a vortex. But it was just something I would never picked up the magazine because I had time to look at magazines. I didn't really look at them properly, but then because I just in a rush to get to the gate. But I was like, I have more time. So I was just like, this is good to see what else is here. Magazines you don't really know much about are their specialist ones. And they have really powerful imagery and words that can help, get you in alignment and balance.
I love that. Oof, I'm so excited for your trip too. I hope it brings you some fun, exciting adventures.
Me too.
My last question for you before we part ways this evening is, what advice would you give to an artist who is looking to feel more confident in their career today?
Okay, that's a really good question. So one thing I would say for confidence is to first of all believe in yourself. And to do that is to not let anybody or anything tell you otherwise. If you know you're good at this, then don't be afraid to put it up on social media and do a little bit of boasting, not in an obnoxious way, but just say, I'm really happy with this art piece I did today, or this painting, whatever it might be. Put it up and just let it go. Just put it up and don't expect comments to come in left, right, and center, but don't expect things, and see what does come in. If there's a lot of likes and a lot of engagement, then keep doing it. And you're not being validated. It's more just a case of just giving a confidence boost is the key thing there. So it's not a case of like, am I good enough? Just put it out there and celebrate and see it as like I'm celebrating my latest creative output is a key thing. And you can build up confidence by just believing in yourself, by doing more what you love and sharing it with people and enjoying sharing it with them can build up the confidence. If it gets out there with a place of fear, it's not the right energy. Enjoy it and to really get what you've made out there and to celebrate with others and see it as community.
Absolutely. I think that's the piece we sometimes forget when we create is that sharing part. That sharing
Yeah.
aspect is so incredibly important.
Well, creative works are meant to be seen. And that's a film, that's music, that's artwork, whatever it might be. So it's important to, when you've made it and it's taken time to make, obviously it's not going to take 5 minutes, is to be proud of it and get it out there and to really enjoy the process, because that way you build up your confidence simultaneously and also subconsciously. So you don't realize, like, you don't realize you're doing it when you're celebrating your work with others.
Absolutely. Oh, such great advice.
Yeah.
Rebekah, how can audience members, anybody who's listening, how can they get in touch with you or connect with you?
The best way would be Instagram. And my Instagram is at Rebekah Film Doctor. That's RebekahFilmDr. Rebekah Film Doctor. And I can just sign into my DMs and I'll certainly get back to you. And also my website is available for this to look at, which is thefilmfestivaldoctor.com.
Perfect. And if anybody's interested in your book, Film Festivals and Looking After Your Mental Health, where can they find that?
That's also on the website. If you go to the shop page, it's at the top, and it's free to download. This is essential guides. I don't want to pay anybody. I don't want to pay people. It's free because it's essential, and it's there to help you navigate your journey.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you. It was so much fun.
All right, creative, here is your one thing this week. I want you to follow Rebekah's advice and celebrate one thing you created recently. Find one piece of creation. So this could be a piece of art you made, a piece of your screenplay that you're writing, an excerpt from your writing, a visual drawing. This could be, even if you're a cook, maybe making something, making a meal, or something you crafted. Whatever that may be, find one thing you've created that you're proud of, even just a little bit proud of, even if it's not perfect, and share it. This could be by posting it on social, sharing a picture with a friend, or even inviting friends over to bask in the glory together. But it's important to really celebrate your accomplishments and remind yourself that everything you create is a milestone in and of itself. If you're enjoying this podcast, please don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. It's the #1 way that you can show the empowered creatives your love. And until next week, stay creative.